On demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the dagger?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers rode into Oklahoma City and put a beat down on the team with the NBA's best record. The Lakers dominated OKC with a surprising 126-99 win. 30 points and 6 assists for Luka Doncic. LeBron had 19 points and 7 assists. The Lakers play OKC again Tuesday night. The Clippers are off until Wednesday. Their 4-game winning streak has them in a tie for 5th place in the Western Conference with Golden State, Memphis, and Minnesota. The Connecticut women's basketball team had to beat USC and UCLA in the NCAA tournament before winning the national championship on Sunday. It was still a marvelous season for the USC and UCLA programs. Both teams were in the top 5 most of the season and put LA on the map in women's college basketball. UCLA was ranked number 1 in the nation for 14 weeks. USC and UCLA finished the season with a combined 65-7 record. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Tell me who in this house know about the quake? I mean, really? If you know how to rock, say yeah.
Yeah. I'm Tavis, Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour of our program. As promised in this hour, conversation with the Right Reverend Dr. Otis Moss III, Senior Pastor of the famed Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. Otis Moss III joins us in this hour for the hour to unpack his most recent viral video, which has exploded on the internet. This particular video is about the puppet masters controlling the puppet, as he puts it. He introduces us in this video to a person you likely have never heard of, but might be one of the most influential thinkers in the right wing and white nationalist space in America today. Now, I want to play for you now. It's just a short journey here, but I want you to hear the entirety of what Otis Moss III has to say about Curtis Yarvin. And once we play for you his video, audio, since it's radio, we will commence our conversation. But I want you to hear the entirety of his remarks about Curtis Yarvin. Sit back, relax, take a listen.
To my Trinity family, if you will just give me 5 minutes, there's some information that I've got to share with you about puppet masters that are controlling the puppet. Puppet masters that are controlling the puppet. Let me begin by sharing this information today. There's a person you have never heard of who may be one of the most influential thinkers in the right wing and white nationalist space in this country. His name is Curtis Yarvin. Let me say it again, Curtis Yarvin. He founded the anti-egalitarian and the anti-democratic movement known as the Dark Enlightenment or neo-reactionary movement. This movement believes democracy is a failed experiment and must be replaced by a monarchy or a dictatorship. The way to reach this goal is through Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley venture capitalists who will use their money to sway public opinion and miseducate the masses through social media and collecting our data. One of Curtis Yarvin's disciples is a person by the name of Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, I'm not sure the pronunciation, is a South African, or an Afrikaner, just like Elon Musk, who founded PayPal. Peter Thiel funded the political rise of J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has publicly stated that Curtis Yarvin is his intellectual mentor. Now, Curtis Yarvin says in order to destroy democracy, they have a program called RAGE, R-A-G-E, RAGE. And this program means retire all government employee. RAGE, Project 25, RAGE, and now Doge is doing the work of Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin believes some races are fit for servitude. Blacks have a natural lower IQ, and civil rights was applied to a population of recent hunter-gatherers' ancestry and no great moral fiber. As a result, civil rights in America created absolute garbage. The architect of Trump's presidency, Steve Bannon, is an admirer of his work, and a collection of Silicon Valley billionaire bros adhere to his philosophy. How do we push back? Number one, we've got to be educated about what is happening. Number two, we have to be deliberate with our dollars. There's no reason we should be supporting any business that plays in our face. Support local, support Black businesses. Number three, support Black institutions that believe in liberation. Whether it is your church, HBCU, whether it is an activist organization, unions, independent press, fraternities, sororities, all of these organizations we have to support and we have to raise our voice. And finally, you've got to be the most engaged voter, politically astute, not miseducated, but educated. They are coming after us. RAGE, retiring all government employee, dismantling the Department of Education. We are in the midst of a hostile takeover in America. But let me give you one thing. All of this research I have been doing, I found out that their greatest fear is Black people when they're organized. From 1971 to today, we have the power and we are connected to an all-powerful God. In the words of Sean Connery, from the Untouchables, there endeth the lesson, and that's my 5 minutes. Peace.
Curtis Yarvin says that democracy is done. Democracy is done. And powerful conservatives are listening to him. We will listen to the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss III when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 Days and Counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed with Otis Moss III, who's a senior pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. He is my friend, my brother, always honored to have him on this program. I never commenced this program or any conversation with him on this program, I should say, by not asking, without asking how his precious parents are. His father, of course, Otis Moss Jr., is legendary. I always love when Otis Moss III imitates his father. So I start by asking Pastor Moss, how are your parents?
My parents are doing well, Brother Tavis. Thank you. They just turned 90.
Wow.
And both of them, we had a huge celebration for them in February, and they are doing magnificent. So thank you. Thank you for asking about them.
No, always. As I said, he comes from good stock, and we are honored to be in conversation with him, as I have been any number of times over the course of my career with his father, who was, again, towering figure in so many ways. All right, so I wanted to play that entire clip, so thank you for your patience. Of course, you will listen to yourself, but I appreciate your patience for you to hear what you had to say. But Curtis Yarvin, I think, is still obscure. I think that's an appropriate label. At the moment, he is still obscure, but his ideas are not. You unpack some of his ideas in that piece. We'll get to that in a moment here. But for starters, I'm curious as to how you became interested in learning more about Curtis Yarvin.
Well, the interesting thing is I'm a reader, a voracious reader, and also subscribe to The Atlantic, Mother Jones, Sojourner, all these different pieces. And it just was not sitting right with me when we kept focusing on Donald Trump. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to do this work. So I wanted to find out who are the people who are not in quote unquote elected positions, who are promoting Trump, but not just promoting Trump, but promoting this alt-right, this alternative conservative movement. Who are these people and where are they connected? Mm-hmm. And that really put me literally down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, oh my gosh, this is the Matrix right here. And I am being introduced to a group of people who I had no idea about, but are now in positions of power.
Mm-hmm. When you call these persons like Yarvin puppet masters who are controlling the puppet, unpack that for me.
Well, so Curtis Yarvin, who is kind of the intellectual, or he's really a pseudo philosopher who's promoting white supremacist ideas, but they have influenced people who are incredibly influential. Peter Thiel being one of them. Mm-hmm. Peter Thiel, who is the founder of PayPal and of Clarion Capital. Peter Thiel is the one who gave the angel investment to Facebook, $500,000, and then set up a venture capitalist corporation to be able to fund Airbnb, LinkedIn, Yelp, SpaceX. The list goes on and on. So you take Yarvin, who is so sympathetic to white nationalism, white supremacy, you just call it out. And then you have Peter Thiel, who is a South African, an Afrikaner, who's a billionaire. Mm-hmm. And then you bring those ideas together, and then they're looking for people they can invest in to take on their ideology. So Peter Thiel then invests in a person. He reads a book, Hillbilly Elegy, by a person by the name of J.D. Vance. He says, hey, there's my man.
Yep.
I will fund him so he can promote my agenda, an agenda that he is also influenced by his reading of Curtis Yarvin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm only pausing because I think I want to just back up a bit and just sort of dissect his philosophy. And I think I want to start with this, especially for this particular audience. You suggested earlier in that tape that I played, your audio, that Yarvin and others of his mindset believe that civil rights movement created garbage. Tell me more.
Yes. They believe that the idea of the civil rights movement created garbage. It did not move, quote unquote, America forward. Mm-hmm. Now, Yarvin's ideas are connected to intersect with another person by the name of Lewis Powell. Mm-hmm. So Lewis Powell writes in 1971, he writes the attack on the free market, the enterprise system in America. It becomes a 6-page memo that goes viral that CEOs begin to read, and a CEO by the name of Joseph Coors, who owns the Coors, quote-unquote, beer company. Mm-hmm. He's incensed by it so much that he then takes his family wealth and pours it into the creation of the Heritage Foundation.
Wow.
So the Heritage Foundation is created because of what Lewis Powell wrote. Yarvin is then influenced by what is happening with the Heritage Foundation, because Yarvin is much younger than Powell. The Heritage Foundation then says that we have to take over the judiciary. So then you have the Federalist Society that ends up coming about much later to literally train lawyers to have Clarence Thomas-like perspective on pieces, or Alito, or however you want to say it. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the crazy piece. Lewis Powell is then appointed to what? The Supreme Court of the United States. Mm-hmm. So the person who influences Yarvin is on the Supreme Court, who helped set up the Heritage Foundation. There is this incestuous white nationalist rhetoric that has flowed since 1971. And here is the interesting thing. Every single one of the people that I've been reading about has been incensed by the quote-unquote civil rights and the freedom movement that black people put forth in America. Mm. They wanted to push this back. Lewis Powell said that Brown versus Board of Education was not only a horrible thing, he said that it will turn our cities into jungles. Curtis Yarvin says that white people have a higher IQ than other races, and there are certain people who are designed for servitude. This incestuous ideological connection is dangerous, and we are now seeing this sewage come through the mouth and the language of the person who is in the White House right now.
Yeah. So we have mentioned Elon Musk. We have mentioned Peter Thiel. We're talking, of course, about Curtis Yarvin, this 51-year-old computer engineer. What have you learned about why? I'm just curious about this. You mentioned earlier that our democracy, or as I call it, our experiment in democracy. I say all the time, we have a Madisonian framework for democracy that we have not yet perfected. So I call this an experiment in democracy. That's just my phrase.
Yes.
But that said, you used the phrase hostile takeover earlier, and I think you're right about that. Our experiment in democracy is experiencing a hostile takeover, no question about that. But here's my question: What is it about Silicon Valley? Again, speaking of Thiel and Musk and Mark Andreessen, I can run the list, right? What is it to your mind about Silicon Valley that makes it so ripe for this kind of hostile takeover?
Predatory self-interest and a level of hubris. Ronald Niebuhr talks about the big problem of human being, of being human, is the idea of predatory self-interest. Silicon Valley allowed individuals to become incredibly wealthy in a short period of time without the level of attention and work of previous people from the Gilded Age, number one. Number two, the Silicon Valley has the ability literally to hack the human mind through the algorithm. So they can direct rage and fear and particular feelings. And so what they discovered was if you want someone to continue to swipe, you don't give them something that brings them joy. You send something that brings fear. So a person stays online longer when they are given pieces of information that make you feel bad, because you're hoping that the next piece will make you feel better. And then it becomes a drug. And so they're actually doing studies in terms of the human brain. The second piece is the idea of what I call the digital Henrietta Lacks syndrome, is that what Silicon Valley is doing is collecting our data, but also keeping our data and saying they own our data. So when I'm preaching or speaking, or when you are speaking, there are AI bots that are literally mining the sound of our voice, what we are saying, and now Silicon Valley is making the claim, this is mine. Because every time you buy a new phone, you click on, when you have to go through that long thing that nobody ever reads, you're actually giving permission to a company to say that they have permission to take your data. It may be your sound, your likeness. I mean, even when we're going to the TSA, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but when we go through the airport and they're taking your picture, the imagery, all of this, Silicon Valley has discovered that the power that you have now is not whether you have a military, but true power is in data. So Facebook is larger than any other nation on the planet, but we do not treat it as a nation in terms of the laws surrounding a Facebook. We have to have a completely different framework of how we deal with these digital companies because of the level of power that they have.
I'm trying in this hour that we have to unpack the thinking as best we can of Curtis Yarvin, who Otis Moss III wants us to pay much, much closer attention to. He believes, as you again suggested in your video, that government bureaucracy should be radically gutted. And I want you now to draw a link from that kind of thinking, that government bureaucracy should be radically gutted, to all these firings and layoffs that we see happening. He's not in the government, but that's his thinking. And we know, as you laid out earlier, all the folk he has influenced and is influencing with his thinking. Draw a straight line, if you will, a linear line, if you will, between his thinking and all these firings and layoffs that we're reading about, although nobody knows anything about Curtis Yarvin.
Right. So Yarvin has this idea of RAGE, retire all government employees, because the government, from his perspective, is blocking the ability of the nation to become a techno monarchy. So you have to gut the government. The Silicon Valley, or what they call the tech bros, they need the government gutted because government is an impediment to the expansion of power. For those in the corporate sector, they need the government gutted because they want access to the national parks. They want to be able to drill wherever they want to drill. They do not want the FDA. They do not want the TSA. They do not want FAA. They want to privatize everything so that they can make profit, not realizing that government is specifically designed to handle large problems too. Number two is also designed not necessarily for profit. The mail system is designed so that certain people can get the mail because profit-wise, it may not make sense to send mail to a particular area in Mississippi because there are not enough people there. And so that's part of the role of government. And so they want to see government gutted so that you have a small group of what is called an oligarchy or a techno monarchy that controls essentially the power. And Lewis Powell, who again influenced Yarvin, stated that we need to create, quote unquote, a government for corporations by corporations. This is Supreme Court justice, who is making these statements. And so all of this is interconnected, and the presence of Black people interrupted the movement, civil rights movement, the Black church, people organizing, the Black Panther Party. We interrupted these folks moving in a particular direction. It was like a left hook and an uppercut. They did not know, they were not expecting this.
Yeah. Tell me, while you're on this, it's a powerful point. Tell me more about the way that we should view our own past, our own history, our own accomplishments as the ultimate in disruption.
The alt-right, the conservative movement, views the movement of the civil rights movement as one of the most powerful and problematic movements in American history. So let's talk about Jerry Falwell. Jerry Falwell, when he witnessed what Black churches were doing, he wanted the power of the Black churches, but did not want the moral compass. So he formed the moral majority. How can I do the same? He was imitating Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Oh, yeah.
Truth be told, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted the influence. He wanted the power. And it was not culturally acceptable to use the N-word. So they had to find another word to utilize. That word became people who are not, quote unquote, qualified a particular positions, which we now call DEI, which is the new N-word. Or it was you had to find another other. It might be immigrants or whatever it may be. And then the issue around abortion ends up becoming also an issue around white survival. We need to have white babies within the alt-right movement. And so Elon Musk is a part of a populationist movement that are not enough, quote unquote, Europeans are having babies. The planet is going to be 1 out of 2 people will be African by 2075.
Yep.
We about to have an African planet.
Yep.
We can decide if it's going to be Wakanda or not. But those in Europe and those in America, even in China, they're not having the children. But if you go to the continent of Africa, that's where children are being born. And so there is, in this alt-right universe, there is a crisis. This is why people are being deported in America. This is why the animation around people coming across the border. This is the issue around DEI. The crisis of feeling that there's not going to be enough, quote unquote, white people, this whole made up social construction idea.
Hold that thought. We'll pick up on that very point when we come forward. I was just laughing as Pastor Moss, Otis Moss III, was speaking because I'm thinking about Elon Musk. He's determined by himself to repopulate white people with all them babies. Every day we look up, there's a new Elon Musk baby. So by himself, if nobody else does it, he gonna bring back. I digress for now. More with Pastor Moss when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Stocks are volatile on Wall Street with major averages briefly rising before dropping again. The Dow has been down 1,500 points while the S&P 500 and NASDAQ are down 3% amid new global tariffs from the White House. Salt Lake City, Utah demolished murals honoring victims of police violence, including George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, to make way for new development. The city cited high preservation costs and safety concerns. Elon Musk envisions a zero-tariff situation between the U.S. and Europe, promoting closer partnerships and freer movement of workers. White House advisor Pete Navarro criticized Musk, saying he's protecting his own interests. And Coachella 2025 is quickly approaching. Weekend 1 of the event is happening April 11th to the 13th, and Weekend 2 will run April 18th to the 20th in Indio, California. Last-minute tickets are still available. Keep BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers rode into Oklahoma City and put a beat down on the team with the NBA's best record. The Lakers dominated OKC with a surprising 126-99 win. 30 points and 6 assists for Luka Doncic. LeBron had 19 points and 7 assists. The Lakers play OKC again Tuesday night. The Clippers are off until Wednesday. Their 4-game winning streak has them in a tie for 5th place in the Western Conference with Golden State, Memphis, and Minnesota. The Connecticut women's basketball team had to beat USC and UCLA in the NCAA tournament before winning the national championship on Sunday. It was still a marvelous season for the USC and UCLA programs. Both teams were in the top 5 most of the season and put LA on the map in women's college basketball. UCLA was ranked number 1 in the nation for 14 weeks. USC and UCLA finished the season with a combined 65-7 record. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Why do we grill to order at Waba Grill? Because it's just better for you. Our Asian-inspired menu has high-quality proteins that are healthier for you. Download the Waba Rewards app or order online at wabagrill.com. Waba Grill. It's for you.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish. finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-335-2299. That's 800-335-2299.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and the Reverend Dr. Otis Moss III, senior pastor at Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. He has this penchant for putting out videos here and there, and every time he does it, they go viral, and I mean wildly viral. His latest is a video about a far-right thinker named Curtis Yarvin, and the consequences we will suffer in the days ahead if we do not push back against his anti-democratic philosophy that essentially wants to replace American democracy with what he calls a monarchy run by what he has called a CEO, which is just a friendlier term for dictator, right? That's all it is. Right. But that's what he believes. Now, when you listen to Otis Moss III and you hear, as you've heard in this hour, all the persons who are influenced by the thinking of one Curtis Yarvin, and you consider the power that these persons have now in government positions or in special designations like Elon Musk has from the president, not really a member of the government, not a member of the cabinet, not paid, but he has his own sort of special distinction. You think about the persons now who have access to this kind of power, and then you look at the ways in which they are moving, and you try to connect that back to the thinking of Curtis Yarvin. Here's my point. This is all I'm trying to say, that if Curtis Yarvin wants to replace American democracy with what he calls a monarchy run by what he calls a CEO, now juxtapose that with the way that Donald Trump shows up every day. Juxtapose that with the way Donald Trump is moving, and tell me you don't see him behaving, acting like he's a ruler, like he's a king, like he's a monarch, like he is the CEO of his own company called United States of America. I digress. Otis Moss, take it away.
And that is a great way. Thank you for setting me up that way, Brother Tavis. We are witnessing Donald Trump take hold of the ideas and the structure of what Yarvin has been talking about, this idea of a monarchy or a dictator. And now we have removed from the administration any of the guardrails. There are no traditional Republicans. These are loyalists who are in place. And what is absolutely interesting to me, is the level of incompetence in this administration. And so they're making the claim that somehow black people were incompetent and shouldn't be in positions. But yet we had the Secretary of Defense having a conversation on Signal about the war plan. And in order to keep us from having that conversation, and this is the cunning nature of what is happening, the administration then had another one of their executive orders that got us distracted. that executive order started talking about the National African American Museum of History, the Smithsonian. And so all of a sudden, the press could not manage talking about more than one thing. Steve Bannon calls it muzzle velocity. And I might say Steve Bannon is also an admirer of Curtis Yarvin. The Trump orbit is surrounded by people who have been influenced by Yarvin, and they are moving closer and closer to full dictatorship.
I want to pivot just for a second here, because I could have started our conversation here, but it's in my spirit right now. We have talked in this country ad nauseum, ad infinitum, as you know, about the so-called separation of church and state. I am delighted that you, the pastor of Trinity in Chicago, brought this video to our attention. And I can always tell when something is really caught fire when people send it to me 4 or 5 times. So I've had your video sent to me 4 or 5 times, and I respond, I know. He's coming on the show on Monday. We'll talk about it on Monday. People keep sending it to me. But I circle back to this distinction between church and state, and I just ask directly, why are you doing this? Why should the pastor of a church be in this lane if we believe there's a separation in this country of church and state?
That's a great question, and I love to answer it, especially for our conservative evangelical brothers. I am not called to be partisan, but I'm called to deal with politics and policy. Politics deals with policy. Partisanship tells you who to vote for. And to be a moral compass, that is the role of the faith community out of the Black church tradition. Let me say this for those who may be confused. There is the Black church tradition, and then there are churches that have Black people. I'm part of the Black church tradition. The Black church tradition of Frederick Douglass, the Black church tradition of Sojourner Truth, the Black church tradition of Harriet Tubman, of Bayard Rustin, of Fannie Lou Hamer, of Martin Luther King, a tradition that speaks to the fact that we have to be a moral compass in God. Just as Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the good news to the poor, to set at liberty those who are captive, to communicate so that we can relieve suffering. That is the role. And if there is a philosophy that is creating suffering, it is the role of the prophetic Black church tradition to speak about it. I can't be silent because it will harm people in our community.
Speaking of communication, you referenced earlier in your video a number of things that we could do, that we must do, in fact, if this democracy or this experiment in democracy is going to hold. And you referenced in your list an independent press. As you well know, I consider myself, and I am in fact a part of that with my station here in L.A. And of course, this program is heard all across the country, from New York from California to the Carolinas, including, of course, right now WVON in your city of Chicago. This conversation is being heard. So I wonder, to your point about independent press, 2 questions: whether or not the independent press is enough in this moment, because we see the mainstream press in so many ways bending the knee. We see that every day. So is the independent press in this moment, as you see it, is it enough? I'll start with that, and I'll hold my follow-up for a moment.
It's necessary, but it's not enough. It means the independent press also needs to connect with people who are independent-minded to be able to communicate. So the Tavis Smileys of the world, connecting with prophetic voices within the Black church tradition. The Black church tradition connecting with academics who are able to articulate all that is happening in this community. The academics connecting with union organizers that are doing incredible work. The union organizers connecting with activists who are on the ground. We have to create our own ecosystem and not be dependent upon the techno bros of Silicon Valley to amplify our concerns.
He has his say every day. Curtis Yarvin does, that is, on Substack, where he writes all the time about his anti-democratic sentiment. And as I said earlier, he's talking louder and louder every day, and these conservatives are paying attention to his rhetoric about the fact that democracy in this country is done. Democracy is done, and what we need now is a monarchy. And I assume at the moment the king would be Donald Trump. And so conservatives are lining up behind the thinking, behind the philosophy of Curtis Yarvin. And so I am grateful to Pastor Otis Moss III for bringing this more to our attention with this video he did that went viral about who Curtis Yarvin really is. Spending some time in this hour trying to unpack that for you more with Otis Moss III when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You've lost so much weight. How'd you do it?
I got medical treatment for weight loss through Zelty and lost 50 pounds. I struggled for the longest time, but Zelty makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelty providers can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others.
I've heard those medications can help you lose weight, but aren't they expensive?
Zelty can help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
What if you don't have insurance?
No problem. Zelty may be able to help you get other GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% off the price of name brand medications.
I'm ready to start losing weight. How do I get started with Zelty?
Just text.
Text SUNNY to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SUNNY to 200-300. That's SUNNY to 200-300. SUNNY to 200-300.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Pastor Otis Moss III of Trinity in Chicago. We mentioned a few times in this conversation Otis Moss III, Peter Thiel. And I want to just layer this if I can. So Peter Thiel has a venture capital partner named Trey Stevens. And Miss Stevens last year came up with an idea to gather influential people in Silicon Valley together on a regular basis to talk about their Christian beliefs. I know for some it might seem oxymoronic that you'd be a Silicon Valley billionaire and a Christian, or at least profess to be. But she started this group called Acts 17 Collective. And these bigwigs in the tech industry come together under this banner of the Acts 17 Collective to discuss their faith. Peter Thiel is amongst those who show up at these meetings professing their Christian faith, talking about God as a part of this Acts 17 Collective. And yet, as you've laid out in this hour, we see the way they move. So the way they move is disconnected, at least in my mind, from the faith that they profess as Christians. What say you about that part?
There is the cultural Christianity. I like to say that what we've witnessed in America is capitalism and ecclesiastical garments. We see it over and over again, where people wear the garments of the faith, but the heart of their actions are rooted in a market-centric capitalism where they want to develop and expand their empire. And what is interesting that you bring up the Acts 17 collective is that there are two other groups that, again, they intersect. There is the Seven Mountain Mandate group that was founded by Lauren Cunningham and Bill Bright, where they said if you can take hold of the 7 mountains of influence in America, you can then create kind of a theocracy. Guess who is a part of that group? Paula White and Mike Johnson.
Paula White. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to laugh at that. Yeah.
And then you have the neo-apostolic movement that was started by C. Peter Wagner that flirts with white supremacy, but wants to create a theocracy. So anyone who, and please understand, they're not embracing all Christians. It's certain types of Christians, certain very strict types of Christians that they embrace. And they would not embrace us. They would not embrace King. They would not embrace Fannie Lou Hamer because they do not fit within the framework of the Christianity that they profess, which again is capitalism and ecclesiastical garments. So we are now seeing, because Black people interrupted white supremacy in a way through the freedom movement, we are seeing a reworking, a rehashing of the post-Reconstruction moment. This is what this is about. This is a continuation of the descendants of the Confederacy, or I should call them Confederate fanboys, attempting to rebuild a mythical idea that never was in reference to what America will or shall be.
Speaking of rehashing, in our remaining moments with Otis Moss III, I want to ask him about this rehashing of Black folk having a lower IQ. Again, you got to connect these dots. If you heard him talk about Curtis Yarvin. If you haven't heard the video, we played it at the top of the hour, but just Google Otis Moss III, Curtis Yarvin. The video will come out where he does basically a quick 5-minute lesson on who Curtis Yarvin is, this person that's influencing the thinking of J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and so many others who are making decisions, outsized decisions about our lives these days. One of his beliefs, Mr. Yarvin's that is that not only should this country be a monarchy and not a democracy, but that Black folk have a lower IQ. You see why I'm raising this? Connect that to all these firings of these Black government employees. Connect that to the attacks on DE&I. I thought we had dispensed of this conversation when the bell curve came out, whatever that was, 20, 30 years ago. And here we are now, back to this same notion as advanced by Curtis Yarvin and those around him, that Black folk have a lower IQ. We'll let Pastor Otis Moss wrap our conversation on that note when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach: transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal: prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Pastor Otis Moss III, Senior Pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, at least for the next 3 minutes. I've enjoyed this hour immensely, learned a great deal, as I hope you have also. But I want to leave these last 3 minutes for Pastor Moss to just share in this regard, if you will, about Curtis Yarvin's thinking and those around him, that black folk just are less talented. Our IQ is just less than theirs. Again, as I said earlier, I thought we had dispensed of this with the bell curve years ago, but here we are back to this frame again.
We keep coming back. I want to just quote my father. He said something so brilliant.
Hey, Otis, if you do it, quote it like your father. Give me your father's voice. Give it to me in your father's voice, man.
Now, Tavis, let me explain this and break it down for you right now. When something is economically profitable, then someone will make it politically viable. Then it will become theologically acceptable. So Pop said that the IQ argument is nothing but an issue around economics because they were trying to justify slavery. Now, here is the linchpin. They are saying that black people do not have the intellectual capacity to be able to read. They do not have the intellectual capacity to be able to compete. But yet, they had to pass laws so that we could not read. Well, if we don't have the intellectual capacity to read, you don't need to pass a law to say that we can't read, which means that the whole argument is rooted in an economic piece because you are fearful of the intelligence of black people. You are fearful. The fact that black people had so many hurdles put before them, but yet there was a mythology to say that we didn't have the capacity, essentially because there was a class of people that were so fearful. If we get the mic, if we hold the pen, if we get the position, if we move into certain sectors, that our brilliance is of such that it will not only overshadow, but will overtake. That's what the IQ argument is built on. It is built on the idea of fear and also white foolishness.
Curtis Yarvin, I repeat once again, says that democracy is done. And powerful conservatives are listening to him, including those in the White House and running our government at the moment. This conversation at its essence has been about the puppet masters controlling the puppet, as Otis Moss III might put it. I hope that you will, even beyond this conversation, do some Googling and do some reading. His pieces are on Substack, but just make sure that you are no longer unaware of the name Curtis Yarvin. He is the power behind the throne, if I can put it that way. Again, quoting Otis Moss III, one of the many puppet masters controlling the puppet, but conservatives are really, really listening to this guy, Curtis Yarvin. Do yourself a favor and read more about him. You read more about him, you'll understand, and it'll make more sense to you why Donald Trump is showing up and moving in the ways that he is moving. For now, Otis Moss III, I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for this conversation. Thank you for this download, man, and we'll do it again soon, I hope.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much, Tavis.
My great honor to have you on. Thank you for your time. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith.